Thank you, Karina. Well, one thread that connects this last panel with our next keynote speaker is one way to unlock economic opportunity and create a mobility ecosystem is to launch the world's most innovative car company in Croatia. And that's what our next speaker, Mate Rimac, has done. I believe he personally needs no introduction, but I will do my best. Mate Rimac built his first electric hypercar, the Concept One, at the age of 23 years old. Today, he is the founder and CEO of the Rimac Group, which contains Rimac technology, which supplies EV components to companies as varied as Porsche and Hyundai, which are both investors, as well as Renault, Jaguar, Kia, Koenigsegg, and more. He is also currently the CEO of Bugatti Rimac, which is a joint venture with Porsche, which makes him effectively the steward of one of the world's most storied marques, multiple-time winner of Le Mans, until recently holder of the land speed record of a production vehicle, a record I'm sure he is eager to get back. And I would be tempted to call him, if not too hyperbolic, the Enzo Ferrari of our time, except that Enzo Ferrari was never interested in creating a high-performance bicycle manufacturer, which he did by spinning out Grape, now owned by Porsche, and also Verne. He is also the CEO of Verne under his holding company, which makes robotaxis. And so here, to talk about, I assume, his incredibly varied interest in thinking about the future of electric mobility in all of its forms, it's my pleasure to introduce Chairman and CEO of the Rimac Group, Mate Rimac. Please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange title, I think, for a presentation like this, Hypercars and Robotaxis, but maybe on first it doesn't make sense, but I think it kind of does when you think about it in the broader context. So first, a little bit about the auto industry itself. So you can read a lot about the auto industry being in crisis, especially European auto industry is not doing well, lots of layoffs, closing of factories, and so on. But on the other side, the electric vehicle industry is still growing. It's slower than maybe some have expected, but it's still growth in there, and we think we can see that in the foreseeable future. But the hype is definitely over. And we can see, like from today's perspective, one situation, but when I look back at my journey, which is 16 years now in the making, I saw several of these cycles. When I started my company in 2009 when I was 20 years old. This is what an electric car was looking like, nothing like a Porsche Taycan or a Rimac Nevera or a Tesla Model S or whatever. This was the electric vehicle reality at that time. So when I started to make electric cars at that time, everyone was like, what the hell are you even doing? Like, this is like something that no one has thought of at that time, like no one was working on it. Then there was the hype years with Tesla really starting with the Model S, and the first mass market manufacturers also starting, like Nissan with the Nissan Leaf. Then there was the mania when everyone was raising billions, everyone who was working on electric cars, specs. I'm not sure if you guys have followed that, but these like shortcuts to IPOs, companies that had nothing were raising billions. And then post COVID, then the market again contracted. So it's interesting because if you look at it like in 2020 to 22, like 2-3 years, the stock market was immensely awarding those who were working on electric cars and had something in their portfolio and punishing those who weren't. And now it's the other way around, kind of. But these are like short-term market cycles, and I think it teaches us that we shouldn't always follow the media and the stock market. So yeah, this is a typical curve of adaptation or hype or excitement about new technology, and you can see it with pretty much everything. And we think that we are today here in this, let's say, slope of an enlightenment where the industry is now becoming a real thing. So yeah, my personal journey was basically building a company from scratch in Croatia. I think it's relevant here to talk about a little bit about this in Saudi Arabia, because I built a car company in a country that never had this industry. So it was like building it in a desert. So there was no suppliers, no talent, no customers, no investors, no venture capital, no government support. So it was really tough to do that, and especially, you know, me as a 20-year-old guy at that time, I had no idea what I was doing. And the chances to get where we are today were basically zero. So I went through, I don't know, I feel like I have had already 5 lives to get here where we are, but yeah, it was like, this feels for me like ancient history. So we did it with electric cars and with some other stuff, and now we are working also on the next thing, which is self-driving robotaxis. So we have proven with the Rimac Nevera that electric cars can be very cool and very fast. We've broken 50 world records with that car. It's more capable and faster than basically any, let's say, normal combustion car. And then 4 or 5 years ago, deal of my life, where with Porsche and Volkswagen, we took over Bugatti into the Rimac group. And at that time, everyone was thinking, oh, there's this electric car guy coming. Now Bugatti is becoming electric, and everyone was very skeptic of that, and that this is, you know, the demise of Bugatti. And I am an electric car guy, but I'm also a petrol head. I have a collection of like 20 cars, and out of the 20, probably, I don't know, 17 are combustion cars. So I love combustion cars, and I realized through building the Rimac Nevera that actually people in this price segment, in the €2 million plus car segment, they don't really want electric cars. 5, 6 years ago, it wasn't really clear, but it crystallized over the last years. It's a little bit like, you'll see myself referencing watchmaking a few times. For example, when before, you know, digital watches, the only frame of reference for watches, like how you knew which one was better, they had just 2 metrics. Precision, so there were institutes that were measuring precision of watches and certifying watches based on that. And the other one was how deep they could go underwater. So it was, let's say, objective, right? And then came digital watches, and they were a lot better. So the Swiss watchmaking industry was in a crisis. What do we do now? These guys are better in all metrics. But decades later, the realization came, people appreciate handcraft, details, mechanical beauty. So therefore, there was still a place for mechanical watches despite digital ones being better in everything. And that's kind of what I realized with Bugatti, that yes, electrification is important, and we have very powerful electric powertrain system in this car with 3 electric motors and a big battery pack, but it's all about the 16-cylinder combustion engine. So we developed a completely new car, including a new combustion engine in this day and age. So the electric powertrain is complementing the combustion engine. So 1,000 horsepower from the combustion engine, 800 horsepower from the electric powertrain, a big battery pack. So you can do everything. You can drive electrically, you can drive with combustion only, you can drive in hybrid mode, and the customers love it. We sold the car out, completely sold out before we even launched it publicly. And it was not just about the powertrain and the engine. We even went a step back. When everyone was going digital, we were going analog. So this is like, we call it the digital detox inside the car. Beautiful instruments, again, Swiss watchmaking in the interior of the car, and that's why it's called Bugatti Tourbillon. Tourbillon is a mechanism that's used in high-end Swiss watches. And yeah, it's one of the selling points of the car was also this approach of, let's say, mechanical beauty and craftsmanship. So yeah, the car is sold out, and we, I think, proven that we know how to, how would I say, find the right spot in the market and what the customer wants. So, and I like to compare this, let's say, with the digital watch. So the European auto industry is in crisis. As you know, the Chinese are really strong. They have really good cars, and I applaud them for that. But it's like trying to make a better iPhone, let's say with a mass market, right? With a high volume cars. I think it will be very difficult for the European car companies to compete. But even more so, like 95% plus of the watches today made are digital. Only around 5% are analog. But more than half of the profits are made by Swiss watchmakers. So that's kind of what we see in the industry that could be a niche still for the European car industry to focus more on the premium and sports car segment, not to compete with Tesla and the Chinese, because that will be, I think, really tough for the European car makers. And we are helping them. My other company, Rimac Technology, is helping them to do that with providing technology. So we make powertrains and batteries and stuff like that for many other car companies, including also the Saudi company Sear. We are partners with them and to many other car companies. But yeah, so we have the Bugatti Rimac business making the performance cars, and we have shown we know how to do it. Then we have the powertrain systems, but the real thing, what I want to talk about here, is Verne robotaxis, and that's something that we still need to prove, that's in the making. So this is the Verne robotaxi. It's named after Jules Verne, the novelist, and I call it being on two ends of the spectrum of mobility. On one side, the best of the best, the most expensive cars in the world, Bugattis and Rimac cars. On the other side, self-driving cars for mass transportation in cities, and one day beyond cities, like between cities as well. Why? So it's an interesting story, actually. People saw the cars that I was building, and investors came to me and asked me, okay, you are making great cars, very low volume, very expensive, so why not that I invest a lot of money into your company? So investors were offering to invest money into the company, and why don't we make a Tesla competitor and sell it around the world in high volumes? And I was explaining them my vision for the future of mobility, where that would be like developing a great CD player or a great MP3 player in 2005, just before Apple was launching the iPhone, right? You could have the best CD player in the world, the best MP3 player. Nobody would care 3-4 years later when the iPhone was out, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Now it would be irrelevant. And I was preaching that a lot on conferences like this. I was talking a lot about that. And then in the end, I decided, okay, I'll just do it. So self-driving cars, I think, a lot of people talk about it today, but they are missing one important thing. They just think it's just driving itself. It's just like, how initially with electric cars, people just took combustion cars, made it electric, and expected that it will be a market success. But it wasn't the case. You had to build dedicated cars that take the advantage of electric propulsion to make a better car. Only when the car is better, more economical, safer, whatever, then it's also going to be accepted by the customer. Same with the robotaxi. So by just taking a normal car, converting it to, adding sensors and so on, and making it self-driving, it's not going to cut it. So we go beyond that, making the safest, most convenient, best experience you can have. So I like to compare it with a billionaire and a kid. A billionaire has today, let's say, a Rolls Royce, a driver. The driver keeps the car perfectly clean, knows the city, is always sober, is always professional. On the other side, the kid will use an Uber with a driver who's maybe distracted, who doesn't know the city. The car is dirty, hasn't been washed in God knows how much time. It's not the environment of the kid, right? But the same kid has a phone, the most important device in most of our lives, which is the same like the billionaire has. And the same internet access, the same apps. Probably the kid knows how to use it better than the billionaire. So that's commoditized, or I would say democratized, but transport isn't. What we want to achieve is that everyone, no matter of their social status, has a better experience, a safer experience than the billionaire with his chauffeur and his fancy car. So this car comes to its mothership every day to get charged, cleaned, serviced, checked. Are the tires okay? Is everything okay, right? You have more space than in a Rolls Royce. It's a two-seater because 90% of the rides are 1 or 2 people. There will be also a 4-seater, but most of the rides are 1 or 2 people. You are immediately connected to all of your services, to your YouTube, your Netflix, and you can use your time whatever you want. Watch a movie, sleep, work, and this should be the best place in the world for you to do it. So we are not questioning at all whether self-driving works or not. It is working. We are testing these things on the road, first in Zagreb, then around the world. We want to roll it out next year, first in Zagreb and then in other cities, including Riyadh as well. And We don't doubt the self-driving aspect of it. It's really good already, and we see it with Waymo, with Tesla, with others who are also doing it in China and so on. We are already focusing on the next step to make it as cheap, convenient, efficient, comfortable, safe as possible to make the adaptation faster. Yeah, so imagine spending your time in this place instead of an Uber. So this car, again, cleaned every day, safe, and even greater safety in case there's an accident because you have this huge space around you. So if you look at the car industry as a pyramid, the volume market is, on the bottom, and let's say you can look at it also as mobility, not just the cars. So you could say walking is down there and a Bugatti is on top. So we are on top with the Bugatti, but with the self-driving car, we are also at the bottom, meaning mass transport. That's where we want to be. That's the next frontier for me, let's say, after the last things I did in the last 15 years. The middle, I think, will be a tough market. I think will be difficult for car manufacturers, especially from Europe. The Chinese are really good, and they are becoming better and better. So I think that will be a hard battlefield. But yeah, this is the place where we concentrate. We are with the top. We are very successful already. We are completely sold out. There is no car you can buy from us. We are sold out until the end of the decade, and we are the only car company that's in that situation. The Robotaxi is a big bet. It requires lots of investment. And by the way, we also have investors from Saudi Arabia. Tasaru, part of PIF, is also invested with us. And we want to roll it out also in the Middle East. So Riyadh is one of our cities. But yeah, lots of work to do to get that done. But we are very confident that this will be also an enabler for further growth, because capitalism needs to grow, right? And one of the areas of growth in the last decades has been to be always available, to always be able to work in your car, with your phone, with your laptop, with having internet everywhere available. But we still waste a lot of time in cars. And this will, again, unlock more economic potential where you can consume or create instead of being stuck in a traffic jam and having to drive. Yeah, I hope it was useful for you to see a little bit about how hypercars, one end of the spectrum, and robotaxis on the other end of the spectrum can be talked about in the same keynote. So thank you very much.